SureStart centres offer a wide variety of services for parents with young children. Currently, there are 54 of them across Hampshire, but 43 of those are facing closure. The County Council wants to turn the remaining 11 into so-called district hubs that will protect the most vulnerable, while parents with lesser needs would use church halls and community centres. The move that looks to save the authority £8.5 million has sparked criticism, with parents currently using the service. And here on our sofa we have a lead campaigner, Ovenden, who obviously wants to keep the services open. I mean, we're facing a time of austerity that's affecting all parts right across the spectrum. It's hardly surprising that services, that are used by children and parents are being affected too. Why is it that, you're so concerned about these cuts?
These are frontline services working with families for safeguarding of children and families, and they're vital. It's a vital service, and I don't think they should be cutting money out. It will cost them more money in the long run if children have to be taken into care. They have to support parents who become mentally unwell. It just doesn't make any sense.
Can you just explain some of the things that SureStart centres kind of do? Because obviously some people will be using them, so they have children, but other people perhaps, had children before they sort of existed. What happens there?
It's kind of a one-stop shop for everything to do with parenting. If you've got children under 5, you can go there. It's in your local community, so you mix with everybody in your community. And there are play groups, but there are trained staff running the play groups who look out for early warning signs in children and in parents for anyone who might be struggling for any reason. And then they can signpost you on, so if you've got postnatal depression or you're struggling with a behavioural issue or you need any sort of support with parenting, that's what they're there for.
I mean, many people would say, if you wanted to send your child to a playgroup or to a nursery, typically, those are paying things. And I mean, there are lots of benefits that the government does provide to parents, to help pay with those things. Why should SureStart centres be any different?
Because it's a preventative measure. So it's Hampshire County Council's responsibility to look after children. If the parents can't do so, they'll be taken into care. So they can help support families early on and prevent problems becoming big, expensive problems that they have to cope with. So pouring a little bit of money in early means that you prevent bigger problems further down the line, and it trickles everywhere into the fire service, police. You can support communities to do the best that they can do. It doesn't cost very much money. £8.5 million sounds a lot of money, it is, but in the grand scheme of things it's nothing.
I mean, obviously we don't have the council here with us, but they would presumably say that these 11 district hubs would still be able to provide the same services.
No, I don't agree.
Why not?
It's about relationship. It's about relationship between parents and children and the centre staff. And the staff are trained to pick up on those early warning signs and build up trusting relationships with families so that you feel supported and you can trust them with your problems before they become big problems. So it's all about relationship, and it needs to be in each community.
And I mean, your group and other groups who are upset about this have been involved in organising kind of protests and things like that. Some would say that that's quite confrontational, and one of the things that the council has said is that they're looking to work with parents and work with people to develop, workable solutions. How do you react to that?
I feel if that was really true, then they would have sent out the consultation document to every family in Hampshire, or they would have sent a link to every school to email every family who was in a school to involve them in the consultation. There was one line on a website, and before we started shouting about it, no one knew about it. So if they want families to engage, which they're saying they are, that's great, but they needed to advertise the consultation process a lot better.
Okay, so there is a consultation going on, and anyone who wants to reply to that consultation can do that, presumably on the Hampshire County Council website.
It is. I've tweeted a link to it as well earlier, and it's available until the 3rd of May. So
right.
Midday on the 3rd of May, we have to get all the consultation responses back. So if you want to have a say, it needs to be by then.
Okay, so we've got just under a month now until...
Oh, less than that, yes.
If it's the 11th
2.5 weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
3rd of May. Yeah.
Oh, 3rd of May, okay.
Yeah.
And... I mean, they have to save money, there's no question. Their budget's been cut, they're not just going to be able to find money from nowhere. Is there any level of service reduction that you kind of could compromise on?
No.
So none? They're not allowed to close any of the centres?
They should open more centres, genuinely, and they've got £19 million of transition funding from central government, so they do have money. and they can choose to use that money for Sure Start if they want to.
Okay, so what should they cut instead?
They don't need to cut anything from Sure Start.
But can they cut something else? Perhaps perhaps there be a different part of that you would suggest them
expenses,
cutting.
putting in marble units into Hampshire County Council.
Because I mean, they have to
Queen's
save
Party.
over £100 million, so it's going to have to come from everywhere.
Exactly, it does need to come from everywhere. So cut cars, cut catering, cut all of the frivolities I would see which aren't essential. People can bring their own sandwiches to things, and people say that's not enough, it's just a tiny thing, but all the tiny things add up. And then they've got that money, and they've got the money anyway, they've got the transition funding.
Right, and is there anything else that you'd like to say while you're here?
Just please, can families take part in the consultation process, because we can protest and shout as much as we can, but if people don't take part in the consultation and make it known that they would like the centres saved and invested in, Hampshire County Council won't know. So that's what we need to do, please.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in and telling us.
Thank you.